If you're feeling like this year, this week, this month is Groundhog Day in your MSP, then this episode of the IT Experts podcast is the one for you. Welcome to the IT Experts podcast, the only podcast to help MSPs scale to 1 million, and if already there, get to 5 and go faster. At the end of the day, isn't it all about building a business that works for you rather than you for it? I hope you enjoy the show. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the IT Experts podcast. Welcome back to the podcast lounge, Stuart. How are you doing today?
I am very good indeed. Good to be back.
Yeah, it's good. Back into 2020.
2026, yeah.
Another year, another load of opportunities for the whole community.
Huge.
Absolutely,
Huge
absolutely. However, bringing it back to basics, you know, the end of the new year, the beginning of the new year, it doesn't really matter what time of year it is really. We're here a lot of the time. People do this. They go, in a bad way, and it's the Groundhog Day. It's the, are we doing the same thing again? You know, what's the old adage? If you keep doing the same thing over and over again, expect a different result. You know, that is the definition of madness, isn't it? And, you know, we hear a lot of MSPs who move forwards very fast. We see a lot of MSPs who move forwards very slowly, and we also see a lot of MSPs who just don't move at all. And this episode is if you need a little bit of motivation and to work out how to stop getting sucked back into that vortex and have those Groundhog Day vibes that you're doing the same thing over and over again. We're going to give you some motivation, some energy to get you moving forwards faster, aren't we, Stuart?
We are, indeed.
What's your take on this? Because it's easy to say, you know, we'll do this and do that, and these are all the things that you need to do. But I suppose deep down, unless you've got, you know, that vision and that hunger and that passion to change, things aren't really going to change, are they?
No, they're not. And I think at this time of year, coming towards the back end of January, the realities of the new year have passed.
Dry January.
Excitement, dry January. And not everyone gets it, but there is that point, and you make it. It's not just this at the start of this year. It could be any time throughout the year. You just have that feeling. It's like, same thing, same complaints from clients or same problems, same issues with the team, same frustration with marketing, not enough sales leads. And it's like, and it's okay. You know, we talk about, you know, people tread water. It's an okay treading water. And in some cases, it supports a good lifestyle, treading water. But actually, when you peel back the curtain on life, aspiration, what does success look like? Why did I start this 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago? Am I where I want to be? And I think there's that, it comes back to that realization of like, well, if I keep doing, as you said, what I keep doing, I'm not going to get to that place that I thought I would get, and I would be there by now. And unfortunately, it's a glass ceiling. Everyone goes through it. Every business goes through it. It's a glass ceiling of you, the leader of your business, and also the glass ceiling of the maturity and structure of your business. And unfortunately, unless you decide to do something different about it, your business will stay the same. So your frustration that, it's the same thing day in, week out, how do I break it? It's like, well, we need to do something new. And so what could that be that we could do new? And I call it actually cut the cord, because you are addicted to being the hero. Most of the listeners here are technical. They started their business because they love the tech. They love solving problems with technology for clients. And so therefore, they like to be needed. So they're plugged into this need to their clients of being needed. So they're always available. And then they learn, well, maybe I shouldn't be available on Saturdays and Sundays, and maybe I need to put some structure in place. And the business gets a little bit better, but actually they're still addicted to that service element. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you've got to decide what you are going to stop doing and what you are going to start doing to actually get a different result from your business this year.
Can I just interject with something that's just flown into my peanut here? And it's, you know, we're talking about this, and, you know, the Growth Hub's got a lot of members now, which can all lean on each other and support each other as they do. But what if you're on your own? What if you're not you're listening to this podcast and you're running your MSP and you've done all right and it's okay and it's paying the bills and you've got a half decent lifestyle, but what you've just said could frighten the life out of most MSP owners who are not connected to communities, who are not connected to incredible networks and things like that. So, you know,
Good. Good.
Watch out, he's come out.
Good. I'm glad they're scared, because you need to be. Because why waste the opportunity of an amazing business model that the MSP, business model is, in something that you love doing? Who wouldn't pay to have a job that they love doing and a business that they love doing that is, scalable without limit? It's only limited by us, by what we decide to do, what we decide to invest in. So good. So for everyone listening to this, is going, wow, that's scary.
Dithery.
Yeah,
Good.
I get it, but where do I start? Well, start doing something different, like listening to this podcast more frequently, reading some books, going on YouTube and learning about what you need to do and to step out of your comfort zone. We talk about this a huge amount, but if you want to break out of Groundhog Day, if you want to cut the cord from your dopamine fix to being needed by clients and putting your pants on the outside of your trousers and flying in, and your team need you to step back if they're going to grow and develop in their careers and their ability to support you further. If you're going to gain leverage of the resources you invest in, day out, which is your team and your technology, and go, do you know what's working, what's not working? And this comes into some of the solutions or the tactics that you can take about how do you change this, and part of it is stop, draw a breath and go, I've had enough. And it's that moment we need.
It's that huff. It's that big huff, isn't it?
Well, do something about it. Don't just go, go back into the trenches and
I've got to do it.
Yeah,
that's
got to do it.
Well,
you
got
don't.
is horrible. Isn't it?
If you've got 2 or 3 in your team, it's like, actually, how could they do some more of what I do, and I can do some of the stuff that we never do and should be doing, which might be going and seeing your clients more often and talking to them about their need, which would perhaps give you more revenue and more profit. And then you can invest that differently. So it's really, what are you going to do differently to not have Groundhog Day tomorrow and next week and the week after and next month?
And I can say this now because I know that this episode won't be going out until our client event next week. But, I'm doing a bit of work on a presentation about, you are where you are today because of the decisions and the actions that you have taken so far, exactly to your point. So what decisions and what actions do you need to take to do something differently? But the decisions and actions that keep you in flow. So you might want to you might want to carry on doing the technical side of things. In that case, think about who can run the business better than you and employ them or find them or search for them. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be a full big hire. Or if you do enjoy going out and doing the account management and the sales, then how can you organise your diary so that you can have more of those relationships with your clients and then delegate and pass down and no, let's not use the word delegate, empower your team to take on some of the tasks that you were doing before, what we call £10 tasks, £100 tasks, so that you can spend that time, because you are where you are today because of what you've done in the past. And there is no one else responsible about that apart from you. Sorry about that, but it's the reality, isn't it? Absolute reality. Let's stop dragging them through the mud. Let's lift them up a little bit. I guess the first thing is that, how does this, we've talked about the kind of feeling, but what does, when you are that bottleneck, I suppose, and you are that element in the business, what does that do to people in the business around you, apart from kind of throttling growth?
Well, you're the influencer. You are the influencer in your business, so they all look to you. So if you're, you get what you put out. So if you're invisible, let's say, in your business, then your team will probably be invisible. They'll have their heads down. When you're not in the office, they might be asleep at their desk if it's quiet, because they're like, I've got nothing to do, instead of going, what can I do? What should I do? What's expected of me? Because, I admire my boss and he motivates me. And because we have had that experience. We've had clients come in and say, I've just realised some of my team have a snooze for 20 minutes if there's nothing going on, and nobody around them says anything. They literally accept it. I was like, well, they obviously feel comfortable.
I remember those conversations.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
And it's like, well, they think they can. Yeah. Because there's something missing in your culture, your expectations, there's something missing, and they think that's acceptable and allowable. So if you want to stop your staff sleeping while you're out, then
don't start putting those little things, having airports, these little pods, so everyone can start sleeping, because that's encouraging the behaviour, right?
But yeah, you've encouraged it unwittingly, that they think it's okay. So you need to pull them up, to know what's important, or know what's allowed and what's not allowed. Ultimately, what are the rules? What's the culture? What's the, how do we function here?
Right, that's great. So look, what can MSPs do about it? How do they build that confidence? How do they get started? I think that's the first question.
I think you all know what you need to be doing, but you might not have ever thought about, how do I rank, or how do I crystallize exactly where I should start? And just start with a little audit. Look at each department, look at the help desk, look at the projects team, break it down, look at the finance area, look at the sales, look at the marketing, look at the invoicing, the billing, and go, I know, out of 5 or 10, is it a 1? Is it a 3? Is it a 5?
Nice.
What are you pleased with? Probably operations, or probably score best. And actually, if you then scored where you spend most of your time and what makes you go versus then think, actually, if I'm going to make a better business, what do I need to do more of? What do I need to do less of?
Yeah.
Usually it's getting rid of some of the admin, automating the billing, saving time on, as you would say, the £10 tasks, and focusing on the £100 and the £1,000 tasks. It's as simple as that. But to do that, take an hour out, make that list as we just talked about, and then see what it says. And then think, okay, how can I let go? And then I think the really critical thing is involve your team.
Nice.
Having made that quick list and then gone in, your team's probably 3 or 4, maybe 6 or 7. They know you know them, and say, guys, we just need to stop. I've done some analysis. I realise that we need to let go of this and let go of that, do more of this, do less of that. What do you think? And have a discussion. Now, they'll have a different perspective, but you'll have involved them in the process. They'll buy in, and you'll go, yeah, do you know what? I'm going to hand this billing protocol over to you. You're going to do that. I'm going to do this instead. That's a start.
And I just listened to what Stuart's just said there. So stop, take an audit. It's going to be uncomfortable, right? It's not going to be pretty. You're going to look at it and go, well, be really honest with yourself, as if you're like reporting to your external board. But the reason that you're doing everything is because you're not involving your team. So if you involve your team, then magic does start to happen. It's quite incredible. Some of the team will not be with you, when the day comes, but some of them will be, and they want you to win. But if you don't involve them in the vision, if you don't involve them in, in your plans, in what you want to do, then you're going to be dragging, like with chains and bars, your team up a hill rather than all rowing in the same direction, right?
And don't underestimate your team either, because they want to get involved. And I remember some years ago, and it happens frequently, that Andy, he was like, I'm going to go back. We did a first growth planning session with him, and he went back, and it was like, involve the team. And he was like, when do I do it? Because the phones were always ringing. Well, encourage them and say, look, pizzas Friday after work, or we'll stop at 4:30. They were still there at 7:30, and he was amazed. And he was the one that was trying to wind up the evening, and they were still going. And when they'd done it again in times, they'd said, yeah, we'll come in on Saturday morning and do it. And he was amazed that they were that engaged to stay after work, B, sometimes come in at weekend, and were so intrigued, so motivated to work on the business. And he sustained that. And those original people 5 years on are now sort of part of his management team, and he's considering going down to 3 days a week. You underestimate how good your business could be if you start to get out of the way and involve your people. And that's if Groundhog Day keeps being a thing for you, and that feeling, it's stop, get some perspective, rank what's working, what's not working, start to involve your team, and magic will start to happen if, and it's the C word, you're consistent. And that's why we do what we do at the Growth Hub, because we force consistency onto our client. We call it follow the process. And they get it, which is why every 16 weeks they love coming to the intensive. We have a full house because they know we're going to reset, we're going to brainstorm, we're going to troubleshoot, we're going to inject new ideas, of which they are part of the process of injecting new ideas. And out of that melting pot comes when you chunk it down, clarity again for the next 16 weeks. And we don't leave it that long, because we check in at 8 weeks. And we have we have a day every week where you can access more support and more structure and more accountability to stop, gain perspective, and keep moving. And that keeps people connected to the trajectory of whatever success looks like for them. And it's a simple formula. It's eons old. It just works, because us human beings love structure. If we're going to get out of, and also buddying up, joining a community who are all seeking to do the same thing. Because on a day when you're not feeling, 100%, you only have to listen to somebody else who's like flying and go, oh yeah, okay, I feel better now. And you're willing to go back into the melee of doing the stuff that is going to change the reality or the long-term reality of your business.
Question for you.
Yes.
What percentage of new clients come in where they have our initial growth planning session, and you say to them, a light bulb explodes in their brains and they say the words, wow, I didn't realise how much of an involvement my team have on where I am today and where I want to be?
It's huge. Every single one of them.
Virtually every one of them. It's unbelievable.
If they go back in and they just realise that their team, well, in some cases, is the asset that they've not been leveraging, and they've developed a culture. They've dumbed the potential of the business down, sometimes by just being what they think is just too nice, too accommodating, because your employees don't deep down know where that business is going. So it's a topic we talk about a lot, is we're helping them step up and go, hey, I am the leader, this is what my North Star is, I haven't told you, now I'm going to tell you, and I want to involve you in it. And as was a couple of guys yesterday were talking about, they had a couple of people in there that they needed to get rid of, that weren't fit for the journey. Toxic was the word they were using on one in particular. And they've put their big boy pants on and followed the right HR process, and that person is now leaving the business. That's good for both parties. Yeah,
exactly. No, there's a great analogies around that, kind of all over the place, and that's how you keep consistent. Before we start to wrap up on this one, Stuart, which has been, a brilliant show, how do we measure progress on this? So we've given some tips about how to kind of get started and the things you need to do, but how does an MSP know if this is going to work, or to keep that consistency up? Because otherwise what could happen, might have happened sometime in the past, is you didn't have a way to measure it, you don't know if it's going to work or not, and then you just fall back and you do the same thing you were doing before, don't you? So unless you can see that progress, whether it be pigeon steps, whether it be big leaps, whether it be whatever, what's the method of measurement for this?
It's not changed in centuries of doing this. It's not me, I'm not that old.
I was just about to say, I can't wait for this one.
No, you write it down and you check in on it. And it's like, well, have we done what we said we were going to do? It's that simple.
Definition of
level.
Done, isn't it?
It is, and that's the process. It's the same with your staff. It's like, guys, are we on track, and have we done what we said we were going to do? Because if we haven't, our natural inclination is to go back to what we know, which is
safety, comfort zone.
It is comfort zone, and that's why I say you've got to cut the cord from that addiction to that dopamine that will keeps you doing stuff in your business, as opposed to empowering and leading and pushing the envelope on getting out of your comfort zone and the whole team.
And when you've done that, what's life going to look like? How if we sit here now in a year's time after someone's listened to this podcast and they've implemented what we've been talking about, what's it going to look like?
Well, it'll show up in your numbers.
Right, nice.
It always shows up in your numbers, success, progress or lack of it. So it'll show up in your turnover, it'll show up in your gross profit, it'll show up in your margins, it'll show up in your time. Can you take that half a day or day a week off out of the business to work on it, play a bit more tennis, I don't know, whatever you want, whatever floats your boat, spend more time with the family. But in many cases, it'll be measured in time, pounds, shillings, and pence, and Bitcoin.
Just thought I'd bring you into the
21st century. But yeah, it will show up in your numbers, I think, bottom line, and in your satisfaction. And the other thing, also in a year's time, is to take time out to then look back on what you've done this year, because you'll be absolutely gobsmacked with how much you've done.
Yeah.
And actually the satisfaction you'll get from that. And, you've got one life. you've got one business, you love what you do in this business. And more importantly, if you want to stay in business, you need to carve out the time to work out how you need to evolve, because this business is evolving. And I don't want to talk about AI right now, but it's on everyone's lips. 10, 15 years ago, the concept of MSP, managed service partner, was brand new.
Yeah.
If not, didn't exist. Everyone was break fix.
Yeah.
And that was the thing of sort of, what's this MSP thing? That's a load of rubbish.
That's never going to work.
So what's next? But that's another podcast.
That's a lot of podcasts, actually, I think. So, Stuart, brilliant show. Thank you very much for your insights on that. I think that it's been great to help people kind of move the needle, move things forwards. So listen back to it, take some notes, take some action. If you need a hand, what do?
Reach out. Come and join the community.
We're always here to help.
Yes, absolutely.
Lovely stuff. Catch up with you on the next one.
Thanks, Ian.
Cheers.
See ya.
And just before you go, a quick teaser. Next week, we have got a brilliant show lined up for you. We've got Stuart back in the podcast lounge, and we're talking about why owner dependency could throttle your valuation of your MSP. There's some incredible tips and tricks in there that most MSPs don't even think about when they wake up in the morning. You're going to love that one. Tune in next week. Just before you go, and if you're curious about how this episode links with the ability to scale your MSP to $1 million, or if you're already there, accelerate to 5, then we want to invite you to come and take the MSP Mastery Quiz. And in just 3 minutes, you're going to get a 360-degree scan of your business where you can identify the 1 or 2 tactics that can help you find more time, engage and align your people, and help generate more leads in your MSP. It's really simple. Just click on the link in the show notes. And if you have enjoyed this episode, we'd love to get some feedback from you by means of a rating, review on Spotify or iTunes or your podcast platform of choice. We really appreciate every single one of them. Now you can go and enjoy the rest of your day, and we look forward to catching up and connecting with you soon. All the best now.